We know AI adoption is rapidly accelerating in the work.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and don't honors to the apostles and others, great millstone salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Arno Olaf from German Chicago, and coming back with you with another lesson, and just gonna go ahead and go to a quick lesson about how AI is basically taking over your jobs, right? And a lot of people, especially in the tech industries and shit, the white collar jobs, right? They're now being overrun by AI, right? So those people that are in these tech jobs, right? They're losing their jobs, right? And now you have new things called automation. Automation. Yeah, now you have something called automation, and there's now more getting you know new developments to the point where eventually it's going to take over the blue collar jobs too. All right, and yeah, basically is the use of technology, software, and machinery to perform tasks with minimal human interventions, aiming to increase efficiency, productivity, and accuracy while reducing costs. And yeah, basically, I was just watching this video, all right, and it wasn't too long ago, but these technology, AI is really taking over people's jobs. And I remember going down to Chicago, and matter of fact, it was like my second time even seeing this, but basically there was probably like my fifth, fourth time seeing it, but there's these little carts and shit, and they were just driving by themselves and delivering food basically. And just a miniaturized robot, literally like wheeling itself, delivering food. And then you can see that what Esau's trying to accomplish is that he's trying to get rid of the population, all right, and replacing them with robots basically. And now you have a lot of people that are losing their jobs.
And now new research shows which regions and jobs are most at risk. According to the Society of Human Resource Management, SHRM for short, more than 9 million U.S. jobs are at risk, and they're mostly white-collar jobs. More than 50% of writers, programmers, and designers could be displaced. Cities with the high concentration of white-collar and tech jobs will face the brunt of the impact, including San Jose, Washington, D.C., and Durham. Roughly 38% of the workforce fall into more AI-resistant roles, but they are among the lowest paid jobs. To talk more about ways workers and employers can prepare for this AI shift is Johnny Taylor, President and CEO of SHRM. Johnny, thank you for being with us. Your research shows the projected job losses are concentrated in about 24 occupations. Yes. So what makes these jobs the most vulnerable to AI?
Well, first of all, they can be automated. More than 50% of the tasks associated with the jobs can be automated. And to the extent that the computer, some algorithm can do the work, then it makes the jobs and the people in those jobs vulnerable.
So research found the AI-resistant jobs tend to be some of the lowest paid. So what does this mean for the future of the U.S. workforce and salaries?
Well, it's kind of scary, right? We're feeling the pressure. The reality is healthcare jobs, for example. Right now, healthcare jobs are at the same level as they were in 2022. Huge demand. But to your point, many of these jobs are CNA jobs. They're lower paid, human touch jobs. And that does pose a real concern for the U.S. economy, because at the end of the day, paying people or a lot of people less money will impact the community of the economy, because they'll have less money to spend as consumers.
Sure. And what can workers and employers do to make this transition a little less painful? Is there anything we can do?
Well, yeah, there are jobs on the other side of this. Some jobs will go away. There's naturally going to be some displacement. Our research says as many as 9 million jobs. So what we can do is be honest with people now and say this is your opportunity to reskill for the jobs on the other side of this. There will be higher paying jobs in the post-COVID world, but we've got to identify what those jobs are. Most importantly, we've got to ensure that the people have the skills to do those jobs when they're made available and posted.
We've been reporting about some gig workers who are actually getting paid to train AI to essentially do their jobs. And we're saying for all industries, including journalism, by the way. I'm curious, are we going to see more of that?
Yes. We all talk about AI right now, artificial intelligence. The holy grail of this is AGI, artificial general intelligence, this notion that it can do most, if not all, of what human beings do as work today. So AI is only getting better and better every day.
God damn, you heard what he said? AGI, right? And basically saying that, that kind of AI, would basically do what most of, human beings would do as for work today, and eventually is gonna, right now we're in an economic collapse. It don't matter if you're a blue collar. It don't matter if you're making 100 grand a year, or 6 figures, whatever you want to call it, right? Look, man, Esau, all right, Esau is currently crashing the economy on purpose to accomplish his agenda by the way of RFID microchipping, the way of buying and selling, all right. And then you can see how these people are now struggling, all right, to the point where you got a war that's going on, all right. People are paying more for their insurance, their gas prices, their groceries, all right, and their bills, their everyday necessities on their day-to-day basis, and we're means that America is broke, all right. America is broke. What the fuck? The DHS. Over. Did the government shut down and no, we're still currently in the government shutdown as of right now, but it's not over yet. But basically, the TSA workers, the securities over there in the airport are basically getting replaced by soldiers, basically, and you still got federal workers that are going without pay. But yeah, it's about to get really extreme out here because the middle class, there's no longer going to be a middle class. It's only going to be the poor and the rich. But nonetheless, we'll bring out the scriptures. And yeah, you can see how there's basically going to be barely any work for Egypt. Alright? America's through. Isaiah 19 and 15. Actually, I'm going to start with 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to earn every work thereof, as a man staggeringeth in his vomit. And you can see how, Egypt is at, you can see how America is at a tipping point of a financial collapse, because, now you got a lot of people that are getting replaced by AI. All right, people are struggling with the bills, the grocery bills, having to pay more for gas. And yeah, America is basically through. Verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And you see, a lot of people are losing their jobs. In that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman, it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And yeah, the Lord is really about to humble this place, because hey, in a financial collapse, all right, there is war. All right, in a financial collapse, they take it to war, to fight a war overseas to eventually hoping to, build back the economy. But as for this case, according to prophecy, all right, America's economy, America as a whole is going down. Yeah, the grinding is really ceasing because what, they got AI replacing humans. All right, they got automation and JAI, GAI, whatever they call it again, General Artificial Intelligence. And yeah, the grinding is ceasing. There's a lot of people who are now unemployed. About 4.3% in March 2026. That is, shit. But nonetheless, the unemployment rate is, really, really up there, Yeah, the having to, have tough choices whether to pay, having tough choices in order to, either put food on the table or pay their utility bills. All right. And I was watching another video, the Snyder report. Basically, it was going into how, even these people that make six figures a year, all right, because they buy expensive cars, right, and then they have an expensive homes. But as this economy is failing, all right, they little do they know that they're actually losing a whole lot more than what they're earning. They got loans to pay off, all right, and they're living way beyond their means, not realizing that, them as themselves are in the middle class, but hey, there ain't gonna be no middle class in, in the coming months. Damn. Unemployment rate. God damn. But yeah, America is through. People struggling by the day. Ecclesiastes 12:3. And that day when the keepers of the house shall tremble goes into your elites, the elites, because the elites know that their end is coming. All right. Also, these people who are the economists, the what's it called again? Wall Street, some shit like that. But it says the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the ground cease because they are few, and those that look at the windows be darkened. And that's right. The grounding is ceasing because there are few. Now you got AI replacing humans, and it's only going to advance even more. And yeah, you can say it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Verse 4. And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And yeah, even the music industry is failing. really, I mean, AI, they can produce a new album and make it sound like it was made in the 1980s or the 1990s or the 1970s, which is nuts because you don't even know if it was a real person singer or not. What I say is, then all the daughters of music should be brought low. And hey, the music industry is turning to shit, right? When most rap, these new generation rap albums come out, I don't even listen to that shit. Right? It's the same old conversations that they always be saying, drugs, smoking blunts, and all other crap. It's just dull, right? All that shit is just dull. Their money's cankered. And anyways, we're gonna come to the point where, your money, your dollar bills are basically losing its value by the day. Because you got something that's called hyperinflation, and we're on the brink of experiencing hyperinflation. Alright? People about spend, 90, $100 for, a loaf of bread real soon. Because even as the oil is getting impacted, right? Think about the truckers delivering that. Truckers are getting affected too, right? Truckers are spending more on fuel than what they are earning right now. And it's only going to get worse. James 5:3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Your gold and silver is cankered, be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. And yeah, people in their businesses, alright, even they know that that a financial collapse is coming, because hey, I could tell you, I have no experience of running a business, but hey, at my job, it's just a grocery store, but the company and the union, and they were about to give us a raise, basically already right now by now, but now they have switched up their minds, and now they're just sticking with giving us a few cents, like 10 cents. But really, these people, they know that a financial collapse is coming. That's why they're not really paying us enough. And then everything is going up. Your car insurance, everybody's car insurance already just increased. Alright? Because mine's did. My household's car insurance did as well. But it's not just mine, everybody's car insurance. But nonetheless, hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, and Shalom.